He bent reality to seal it away forever. Or so he thought. Now time is cracking, and something ancient is crawling through. Doctor Strange vanished the day it returned. The Avengers don't remember the monster, but the monster remembers them. And someone or something is helping it from inside the Sanctum Sanctorum, the rift beneath New York. The sky over Manhattan didn't just crack, it screamed. It was 3:07 a.m. when the first tear appeared. Above Times Square, reality split open like ripped fabric. Colors bled wrong. Gravity twisted. And for a full 3 seconds, the entire city held its breath. Then it stopped. Like nothing happened. But Wong felt it. Halfway through cataloging dark relics in Camartage, he dropped the book of Watum midair. He didn't even pick it up. He just whispered, "No, it can't be." 3 hours later, deep within the Sanctum Sanctorum, Strange stood before the mirror of Cather. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from certainty. He wasn't wrong. The monster was waking up. No one else remembered it. Not Tony, not Bruce, not even Thor. That was the price of the seal. It erased all memory of the beast from existence. A beast too powerful to kill. Too ancient to name. But Stephen remembered. Because he cheated time to imprison it. And now time was unraveling. "Something's wrong with the basement," Wong said, standing behind him. Strange didn't look away from the mirror. "Which one?" "The one we don't talk about." He turned. "It's open." Wong nodded. "Only a sliver. But something's already crawling out." At the same time, halfway across the world, a boy in rural Mongolia woke up screaming. He'd never heard of New York. He didn't know magic. But he drew the same creature on his mud wall every night. A six-eyed shadow serpent with a gaping void where its heart should be. His drawings caught fire by themselves. And the village elder, a blind woman with no tongue, cried when she touched the ash. Not because she feared it. Because she recognized it. Back in New York, the sanctum trembled. Doors to dimensions slammed themselves shut. The air crackled with whispers in dead languages. "This is bigger than a breach," Wong muttered. "It's remembering us." Strange opened a portal to the deepest vault, the one sealed in 2017 after the War of Silence, an event no one but him remembered. And there it was, a glowing wound in the air, pulsing like a heartbeat. Black ichor dripped from its edges, sizzling on the floor, evaporating before hitting the stone. And then something reached through. Not a hand, not a claw, a clock. A broken, blood-stained pocket watch, ticking backward. It landed at Strange's feet. "What the hell is that?" Wong asked. Strange picked it up. "It's mine. But I left it inside the prison. As bait. It means the creature has crossed the time threshold." "That's impossible." "No, it means someone on the outside helped it." Wong's voice dropped. "A traitor." Strange didn't answer. He was too busy reading the engraving on the back of the watch. "Time doesn't forget what you buried, Stephen." An alarm erupted through the sanctum. Not a normal one. The deadlock sigil had been shattered. That meant one thing. The monster had touched the mortal realm. Strange grabbed the staff of Voltaire, spun his cloak onto his shoulders, and opened a portal midair. Locked down the sanctum. "Alert no one. This thing feeds on recognition." "But where are you going?" Strange looked back with fire in his eyes. "To find the only person who remembers this monster besides me." Wong blinked. "You said no one else." "I lied." Washington, D.C. A man in a black hoodie walked silently through the ruins of an old SHIELD safehouse. He had no name now, but once they called him the Archivist. He collected forgotten things, secrets, truths the world wasn't ready for. And today he felt a ripple across every forgotten file in his vault. A name whispered in his head. Vroth Karen, waker of forgotten wars. He turned slowly. In the shadows, a shape flickered, tall, slender, shifting like smoke. No eyes, no mouth, but a presence that ached in the bones. "You shouldn't be here," the man said. The shadow didn't speak, but it showed him something. A memory of Dr. Strange sealing it inside a looped time fragment, but someone was watching the ritual from behind a crack in reality. A hooded girl. No face. Just glowing runes across her arms. The archivist froze. She was back. And she was helping the monster. Back in Manhattan, Strange landed in an alley behind an old bookstore. It was protected by 23 invisibility wards and a demonic anti-recognition spell. He walked through the door like it wasn't even locked. Inside, a girl sat cross-legged, her eyes white with trance, books levitating around her. Astrid, Strange said. She blinked back into her body. You're late. You felt it. She nodded. It's already whispering to children. I need your help. I know. And your memory. Astrid stood. I never forgot. I never forgave you either. Strange flinched. You used me as a power source to seal it. You stole years of my life. I saved Earth. You postponed its death. And now it's awake. She tossed him a vial of black mist. Dream residue from a 6-year-old in Brooklyn. He saw the monster in his sleep and woke up with bleeding eyes. Strange caught the vial. It's targeting kids first, feeding off their dreams. Astrid nodded. It's how it grows. Before it devours a world, it poisons its future. Outside, the sky dimmed. Not nightfall, just wrongness. Above the Empire State Building, a massive circle formed. Ancient runes rotating like gears, casting shadows that didn't align with the sun. People didn't see it. Not yet. But those who dreamed that night, they'd never wake up again. Astrid's betrayal and the city that forgot itself. The first child vanished at 2:11 a.m. 7-year-old Layla Mendoza was tucked into bed by her mother in Brooklyn. By sunrise, her bedsheets were cold and untouched, but the dreams she left behind still pulsed like static on the air. Astrid stood in the empty room, her fingers glowing blue, reading the air like it was a spellbook. She's not missing, she said. She's been consumed. Strange stared at the child's closet door. Wide open, no scratch marks, no damage. No portals, he whispered. Not even dimensional displacement. Astrid's face darkened. She was taken in her sleep. The monsters feeding again. At that moment, across the East River, 10,000 people forgot what day it was. Subways stopped. Taxis halted mid-turn. One banker on Wall Street looked at the stock ticker and asked, why don't the numbers make sense? The date on every phone screen flickered like a dying light bulb. Strange knew the signs. The monster was warping time again, not to travel it, but to erase it. Inside the sanctum sanctorum, Wong examined the sealed dream vial Astrid had handed over. The black mist inside pulsed in slow motion, a frozen memory of fear, locked inside a child's subconscious. I've only seen dream-anchored void matter once, Wong muttered. When? Strange asked. Wong looked up. The day you locked the monster in the time cell. Strange turned to Astrid. We need to find out who's helping it. There's no way it breached the lock alone. Astrid's eyes shimmered. You still don't get it, do you? What? It doesn't need a helper. She pulled her sleeve up. Across her arm, the same runes the archivist had seen, glowing like ink under a blacklight, began to pulse. Wong's hand went to his blade. Strange didn't move. You're the traitor, he said softly. No, Astrid said, stepping back. I'm the anchor. Flashback, 9 years ago. When Strange first faced the monster, Vroth Carowin, the Forgotten Maw, he tried everything. Time freeze. Reality collapse. Mirrored dimension traps. Nothing worked. In the final seconds, Strange cast a loop compression spell and needed a soul bound in between dimensions to hold the prison in place. He used Astrid's soul. Without asking. She was 16. Back to present. I've been tied to it ever since, Astrid said, voice trembling. Every time it dreams, I feel it. Every time it screams, I hear it. You could have told me. I tried, she shouted, runes flaring. But you wiped my memories every time I remembered. Wong stepped forward. Stephen, is that true? Strange looked away. I didn't know what else to do. Suddenly, a ripple passed through the sanctum. A globe fell off the shelf. A scroll unraveled midair. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. Then came the sound. Tick, tick, tick. But not from a clock. From the walls. Wong spun around. We're not alone. The door to the relic room burst open with a thunderous slam. Standing there, backlit by dark flame, a man. Or what used to be one. His skin flickered like a bad signal. His eyes were empty sockets of rotating sand. He wore a cloak made of forgotten names. And around his neck, a necklace of watches, all ticking backward. Astrid collapsed to one knee. It sent a shard of itself. Strange stepped forward. "Who are you?" The creature smiled. "I am the clock-bearer," it hissed, voice sounding like hundreds of whispers layered together. "I carry the seconds your world no longer deserves." Without warning, it raised one arm. Reality glitched. Wong disappeared. No blast. No scream. Just deleted. Strange froze in horror. He reached into his belt and pulled out the temporal lance, throwing it mid-air. The clock-bearer caught it and crushed it. "I remember everything you erased," it whispered. Then it turned to Astrid. "And so does she." Astrid screamed. The runes on her arm caught fire. The air around her cracked like glass. Strange dove, pulling her into a mirror portal just as the entire sanctum chamber imploded inward, sucked into a collapsing fragment of time. They landed in the Himalayas, outside an abandoned Kamartaj outpost. Astrid gasped, clutching her chest. It's not just awake. It's already remembering the world. Strange stood, his cape flapping in the snow. "It's rewriting New York's past," he said. "If it rewrites enough, it can kill cities before they were even built." Back in Manhattan, people started losing family photos, memories, names of loved ones. A woman in Central Park blinked and said, "Where's my husband?" despite being single her entire life. A child asked, "Why don't I remember school anymore?" as chalk dust fell from the sky. Buildings shimmered, glitching in and out of timelines. Police responded to mass hallucinations. But no one saw the sky crack like an egg. From within that rift, a second clock-bearer emerged. Astrid stared at her own reflection in a shard of frozen mirror. "It's not done with me." Strange shook his head. "It needs you. You're the link." "Then cut me out of the loop." "No. If we sever you, the prison shatters." She looked up, eyes cold. "Then we make a new prison." "With what?" She held up the dream vial. Dreams. Meanwhile, the archivist stood alone in his vault, surrounded by files of erased history. One folder began to burn. Inside, a photo of Dr. Strange shaking hands with Astrid, dated a decade ago. The caption? "The girl who should never be remembered." And beneath that, something handwritten. "If she ever wakes the monster, kill her first." The dream trap and the second sanctum. The new sanctum wasn't made of stone. It was made of memory, built inside the dreamscape of a sleeping titan, a forgotten celestial entombed beneath the Pacific. The second sanctum existed in a layer of reality so deep, not even time could reach it. Strange and Astrid stood before its gates, hovering in void light. "She's still dreaming?" Astrid asked. Strange nodded. "Barely. The monster's already leaking into her REM field." "We don't have much time." Inside the Celestial's dream, space bent like melted glass. Every step triggered a memory, a timeline that once was but no longer existed. They passed by echoes of cities erased from maps, people with no birth records, wars that never happened. All casualties of the forgotten Maw. All of this is what it consumed before. Astrid whispered. Strange touched the air. "No, these are just snacks." In the center chamber, the last Dreamforge stood. A crystalline altar that could shape belief into armor, nightmares into weapons. "It'll try to corrupt whatever we build," Astrid warned. "Not if we bind it to innocence." Strange pulled out the vial, the last dream of the missing child, Layla Mendoza. Her fear was still in there, but so was her hope of a bird saving her, of her mother finding her. Pure, unfiltered, untouched by the monster. "We'll use this," Strange said. "Her dream becomes the trap." Astrid's eyes glowed. "You want to weaponize a child's dream. It's the only thing it hasn't infected." Outside, in the real world, chaos escalated. The second clock bearer floated above the Empire State Building. Every tick of its watches erased seconds from the city. Children forgot how to walk. Adults forgot their names mid-sentence. A man screamed as his reflection showed him aging 90 years in a blink. The forgotten maw didn't attack like a beast. It rewrote the meaning of time until nothing familiar remained. In the dream forge, Astrid placed the vial at the center of the altar. "I'll shape the trap," she said, "but you'll have to anchor it." Strange froze. "That means I'll be the bait." Astrid nodded. "Same way you used me." He hesitated. "Stephen," she whispered, "don't flinch now." With a breath, Strange stepped onto the Dreamforge plate. His heartbeat synced with the altar. Images swirled, the sanctum, the monster, Astrid at 16, crying in stasis. And then, Layla's dream. A blue sky, a white bird, a mother's arms. The altar flared. The trap was ready. Suddenly, a rupture. Reality twisted inside the dream. The walls rattled. And then it appeared. The forgotten maw. Not fully physical. Not fully spectral. A shifting black mass of unwritten time, with countless faces flickering in and out of existence across its skin. People it had devoured. Timelines it had erased. Astrid whispered, "It's here." Strange didn't move. He couldn't. He was already inside the dream prison. The maw coiled around the dream forge like a serpent made of regret. Its voices spoke in reverse. "The trap is yours. You made it. You fed me with lies." Astrid stood alone. Then she stepped forward. "You want him," she said. "I'm the anchor. I'm the bridge. You came through me." The maw paused, then lunged. But it didn't reach her. It hit the forged wall of Layla's dream. A child's drawing glowed, the bird, the sky, the sun. The maw screamed, because it couldn't rewrite this. It was pure belief. Outside the dream, the real New York froze. The clock-bearers began ticking forward. People blinked, disoriented, but their names came back. Photos reappeared. Memories realigned. It was working. The trap was holding. But inside the dream, Strange cracked. The pressure of holding the maw, containing it within memory, was breaking his mind. Nose bleeding. Hands shaking. The maw laughed in 7 languages. "You erased me. You used her. Now forget yourself." Suddenly, a second figure appeared. Wong. Alive. He plunged the blade of Avalar into the monster's side. "I found my way back," he growled. "Even death couldn't hold me." Strange gasped. "How?" Wong smirked. "You taught me to cheat time." Together, they finished the spell. The maw's scream shattered the dream realm, but not the prison. Astrid closed the altar. The trap snapped shut. The forgotten maw was sealed once more. But this time, inside a child's hope. When time comes to collect the debt, the world moved on, or thought it did. News channels called it the global memory glitch. Experts blamed solar flares. Children like Layla Mendoza returned to their beds, unaware they'd ever been gone. But deep inside the Dreamforge prison, sealed by a child's hope, the forgotten maw pulsed in silence, waiting and watching. Dr. Strange hadn't spoken in days. He sat in the meditation chamber of the second sanctum, staring at his own hands like they were strangers. He wasn't broken. He was fractured. The price of containing a timeline eater inside his own subconscious had left scars deeper than magic could reach. Wong stood by the door, arms crossed. "He needs rest. He needs a doctor," Astrid snapped. "The humankind. He's not human anymore." Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, time began to behave strangely. A man in Paris aged 5 years in a day, but only in his mirror reflection. A subway in Tokyo vanished and reappeared 2 minutes before it left. In Lagos, every clock tower froze at 11:11 a.m. Not broken, just waiting. The debt was coming due. At Kamartaj, the ancient codex shivered open on its own. Pages flipped until they landed on a forbidden entry. The Hourbinders, custodians of temporal debt. Wong read it aloud. When a time wound is sealed without balance, the Hourbinders arrive. Not to punish, not to restore, but to collect what was borrowed. Astrid paled. Strange stole time to trap them all. Again. And this time, Wong said grimly, "The bill is too big to pay." That night, a ripple passed through every magical object on Earth. Candles lit themselves. Hourglasses turned black. Tarot decks burst into flame. At 3:33 a.m., the Hourbinders arrived. Tall, faceless beings of silver and glass, draped in robes woven from ticking gears. They didn't walk, they glided, as if time pushed them forward. 3 of them entered the second sanctum without knocking. Wong drew his staff. Not today. One raised a single hand. Wong froze, mid-blink, trapped between seconds. Astrid stepped in front of Strange's meditation pod. "You can't take him. He saved the world." The tallest Hourbinder pointed a finger at her chest. "No," it said in a voice layered like echoes. "He borrowed time. You owe time. Now he is time." The chamber clock spun wildly, and then stopped. Suddenly Strange stood, eyes glowing gold, cloak wrapped tight. "No more collectors," he said calmly. "You want debt? You want repayment?" He raised both hands. "I'll give you a bargain." The Hourbinders leaned forward, intrigued. Strange's voice boomed. "Take me. Bind me. Erase me. But leave the world untouched. Let time flow without your chains." The lead binder moved closer. "You offer self for balance." Strange nodded. "I remember everything. Let that memory be your prison." Astrid screamed. "No." But it was done. With a single motion, the Hourbinders turned Strange into light. 1 billion fragments of seconds. A man dissolved into time itself. Gone. The binders vanished. The clocks resumed. Reality healed. But Astrid fell to her knees. Because even though the maw was sealed, Stephen Strange had just become its new cell. The man who became time. The world was safe. The skies had stopped ticking. Memories no longer vanished. Children dreamed again without fear. But Dr. Stephen Strange was gone. Not dead. Not erased. Not even lost. He had become time itself. The vessel sealing the forgotten maw inside a prison made of seconds, dreams, and sacrifice. Astrid stood at the balcony of the second sanctum, watching the stars. "They say time heals everything," she whispered. "But who heals time?" Wong said nothing. He hadn't said much since the Hourbinders left, vanishing into a ripple of suspended reality, taking Strange with them. In the center of the sanctum floated a new artifact, a cracked pocket watch, ticking in reverse. The only trace he left behind. But Strange wasn't gone completely. Not yet. Because in the forgotten corners of space, places where time doesn't flow right, someone was building something. Somewhere outside linear time. Stephen stood alone in a void of endless clocks. His cloak moved even though there was no wind. He could hear everything now, all timelines, all branches, every heartbeat across the multiverse. But most of all, he could hear the maw, whispering, clawing, waiting for him to weaken. "I'm not your prisoner," Strange said aloud. "I'm your warden." The maw hissed through shattered seconds. "You can't hold me forever. Eventually, you'll forget why you're here." Strange smiled faintly. "Then I'll write a note." Back in New York, things weren't normal, just quieter. The Avengers tried to call Strange. Wanda lit candles in silence. Peter Parker kept checking an old voicemail that now played nothing but static. And in Kamartaj, Astrid trained harder than ever. Because she knew the seal wouldn't last forever. One night, Wong entered her chamber. "Something's wrong," he said. She looked up. "Where?" The artifact. The pocket watch stopped ticking. Inside the time prison, Strange stumbled. His hands, once glowing with power, flickered like dying embers. The maw surged. "See," it growled. "Time always ends. And when it does, so will you." Strange fell to his knees. But then a spark. A whisper. "Stephen." It was Astrid's voice, carried through a new dream. The dream of another child, one born after the maw's defeat. A dream full of stars, spells, and a man in a red cloak who always came back. Hope. Strange stood. Time ends. But dreams. He raised his hand. Dreams rewrite the ending. And with that he carved a new loop, One built not on sacrifice, but on belief. The maw screamed as it was sealed again, tighter than before. And Strange? He smiled, because he'd found a way to stay. Not in body, but in every moment someone believed in him. Back in the sanctum, the pocket watch ticked once. Forward. Astrid looked up. He's still in there. Wong nodded. And, as long as time moves. They both said it together. Strange is watching. Mantelpiece clock, the end.